Hey guys, today I want to talk about a concept called front-to-back team compositions and back-to-front team compositions. So for a lot of you, this is probably new terminology. So I'll briefly describe it here. A front-to-back team comp is a comp that targets the enemy frontline, then targets the enemy backline. So common examples of this are Draven and Aphelios, who has to kill all your frontline before reaching your backline. Back-to-front team comps are comps that targets the enemy backline, then targets the enemy frontline. In this case, the most common example is the Assassins. However, Abominations can be sometimes classified under this as well. Finally, there's a third type of compositions called AoE team comps. We're not going to discuss it too much in this video, but often they target using some sort of other metric and hits the frontline and the backline at the same time. And I'll be using this terminology pretty frequently in my future videos, so I would say this is an important one to watch. But why is this even important? It's because the idea of front to back and back to front metas, you would actually need completely different itemization against each of the metas. So it's important to know which type of meta you're in right now. So first, let's talk about front to back. A front to back composition, in this case, I took a Draven comp off of TFT Mobalytics, is a composition that has to go through all your front line before hitting your back line. So if you look at this comp, your backline has no way of being killed by this composition, although try to avoid getting thresh hooked and die in a CC'd. So what you can do against the front to back team comps, all you have to do is build a strong defensive front line so you can run a 3 offensive item carry. As long as this Taric lives, this Draven will never get touched, which means if this Taric has 3 items such as Warmogs, Bramble Vest, and Declaw, you don't even need a healing item on your Draven. All you have to do is maximize your DPS. And any supporting unit that provides tankiness, or any supporting item that provides tankiness, would be super great to add to this team. A back to front team comp is a composition like Assassins. They will target your backline and bypass your front line. In this case, your strong defensive front line will essentially never get targeted until the end of the fight. So the key insight is that your strong defensive items are essentially worthless. By the time Taric is getting hit, you'll have no DPS left and lose the fight. Defensive items on your carries go up in value a lot, such as GA and Bloodthirster. And then strong utility items like strong utility units like Ryze and Lulu helps out a lot, and strong utility items like Shroud and Zephyr helps out a lot as well. Another way to itemize against the back to front comp is to run the Bruiser Carry. Because often the case, these back to front comps will have very low sustained DPS. If you compare units like LeBlanc, Katarina, and Nocturne to units like Draven and Aphelios, you'll see that all 3 assassins have pretty low DPS compared to Draven and Aphelios. So while these assassin units can kill the backline units very easily, they actually struggle to do meaningful damage to bruisers. And you can just out-sustain and out-tank them using a Bruiser Carry. So the takeaway is that scout the lobby before itemizing. Often you can tell how many assassin players are going to be in your lobby, I would say essentially by Krugs. So let's just say you scout and you see that there's probably 0 to 1 assassin player in your lobby. What you can do is you can focus on 3 frontline item tanks, 3 frontline tank items for your tank, and 3 offensive items for your carry, and you can win the game like that. And let's just say when you do scout, you see 2 or more assassin players. What you can do is you can focus on defensive items for your carry like GA and Bloodthirster. Don't prioritize your tank items, and make utility items like Shroud and Zephyr instead to protect your backline. And finally, the third type of compositions, AoE comps, where do they fall? Most AoE comps like Karma, Vel'Koz, Teemo, and Heimer fall closer to a back to front comp, than a front to back. This is because often they will kill your backline while damaging your frontline. However, some compositions like Brand Cavaliers is closer to a front to back. This is because Brand usually targets your carry very, very late into the fight, and by the time that your carry has already been targeted, it's essentially doesn't matter. So what you can do is you can just build 3 offensive items, and there's no need to build a defensive item at all. And I think that's about it. And I hope this helps you guys out on how to itemize for each lobby.